What really gets my dick hard is
So fucking what?
Welcome to Metal Up Your Podcast. I'm Ethan Luck.
And I'm Clint Wells.
And this is episode 28, and we are doing something that we've talked about in the past. We are putting together our fantasy set list for a one-day possible S&M Part 2.
Oh my God, I hope they do it again.
Can you imagine?
The only thing that bums me out about it is that the record that shall not be named, they would definitely do something from that on there. I'll go ahead and spoiler alert you, none of those songs are featured on my list.
I will go ahead and spoiler alert you that none of those songs are on my list as well.
But you know, if they really did do a number 2, they'd do probably Frantic and Saint Anger.
Maybe. I don't know. James, if you're listening, please write in and let us know if you would do that.
Feel free to call me on my cell, James. Feel free to give me a personal phone call.
Yeah, call me on. It's my private number, so do not lose it and do not give it out.
555, please call me James Hetfield.
Yeah. I hope somebody listening just got my Waiting for Guffman joke.
Well, I didn't.
We can start a Waiting for Guffman podcast next.
Oh, okay. Man, what kind of size numbers are we looking at listening to that podcast?
At least a baker's dozen. Oh man, well, dude. Fortunately, we're able to, through technology, to keep doing this podcast while I'm in another country, and unfortunately, I'm still in another country. I think for the next, it'll probably be 2 more episodes after this, and then I'll be back in Nashville in the same room as Clint, and we can do this properly.
I'm in another country too, called Indiana.
Oh, I've never heard. Is that in New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm in Florence, Indiana, New Jersey, and we're at a casino today. So I've got
nice.
I've got the sort of depressing casino vibes.
I'm fairly certain that under the Trump administration that you need a passport to get into New Jersey now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's what I heard. Everyone's talking about it over here. It's big news.
Big news?
Yeah, it's bigly.
Is it huge? Bigly.
It's bigly huge.
The news is going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm in Berlin, Germany, New Jersey right now. So
yeah.
I've only been here for like 4 hours, and I'm just tired. And all I want to do is do this podcast and then drink some German beer and watch Netflix.
All right. Well, let's do it. So this episode is brought to you by our good friends at Tone Tubby Speakers. It's tonetubby.com. Right. They sent us these badass little cabinets. They're called the Studio Slayers. These little 1x8 cabs, and they're
so small.
They're small, they're light. They fit perfectly in my studio. My studio is crammed with a bunch of gear like most studios are. I was able to either put it in my garage or put it in like a hallway and sort of isolate it. And I sort of had my first week of sessions with it this week. And it literally, I'm not fronting you guys, it's bad to the bone.
It really is, man. I mean, I only had about a day or two to mess with mine before I left for this tour. And I immediately, and I think you did the same thing because you recently got a late 60s Bassman, Fender Bassman.
Yep.
I've got an early 70s Fender Bassman head, and I plugged it into this Tone Tubby cab. I got out 2 pedals to run in front of it. One is a Boss Super Overdrive, which is usually one of my main overdrives, and of course the Boss Metal Zone. And honestly, I actually sent a video to Jonathan, who works with Tone Tubby, who hooked all this up, and I sent him a clip of me playing Shortest Straw, and he wanted to post it so bad, but I missed one note and I wouldn't let him do it. I told him we were going to do some more proper demo stuff when I got back in town together, and he was stoked on that.
Yeah, so we're going to have some fun with that.
They really sound amazing for this tiny little cabinet. It's a hemp cone speaker, which allows, if those of you don't know, most speakers are made from a paper. With hemp, it allows more flexibility because the speaker moves when you play through the cabinet. I was blown away at how big this little tiny speaker sounded.
Yeah, well, the first thing I did, because I just gotten I got this fucking badass 67 Bassman head. So of course, for those gear nerds out there, the most exciting thing on the front end of that was me just cranking that head, no pedals, and pleasantly surprised to see that the Studio Slayer cabinet can hang with the bass response. When it started to break up and get crunchy, it was saturated, badass. Then, of course, I put my spaceship pedal board in front of it, and Man, I had to actually stop. I had to rip myself away from it and actually focus on the work I needed to do instead of just playing sanitarium for 10 hours straight.
I know. It really same thing. It had me stuck in my studio for at least an hour or two. And I was like, oh shit, I got to do laundry and pack for tour. I got to leave tomorrow. So I'm excited to get home and mess with it even more. So thanks again to Tone Tubby for hooking this up. And for you gear nerds out there that are interested in this, go to tonetubby.com. Check it out. And in probably a couple weeks, we'll be posting some little clips on Instagram of us using those things.
Yep. And thanks again to Jonathan he's a fan of the show and reached out to us and definitely gave us a sweet hookup with that. We're really grateful to you, Jonathan.
Yeah, very grateful.
All right, our pick contest. We're about to do the pick contest. So you guys know what the fucking deal is with the pick contest. For everyone who leaves us a positive review over on iTunes, we will send you 5 glorious Metal Up Your Podcast picks, 3 with our logo, 1 with Ethan's visage on it. You like how I said visage?
Does that mean stunningly good looks?
Yeah, I think it means face. Maybe it's visage. I'm not very cultured. I don't know. Ethan's face, my face. What you're going to hear is you're going to hear me read your name in the pick contest, and then you send us an email, metalupyourpodcastshow@gmail.com, with your name and address and with the subject pick contest, and we will email these to you free of motherfucking charge.
Free?
All right.
Wow, Clint.
Yeah, I'm talking FREEEE free, motherfucker.
Yeah, don't fall into some FOMO on this thing.
Hell
okay,
no.
You gotta strike while that iron is hot.
You guys got to get in on that free stuff.
Yeah.
Here are the winners this week. Nazarbeam, Jubs98. What up, Jubs?
Jubs.
Bruce Sacrifice, Derek Damager.
Ooh, hang on.
Oh.
Bruce Sacrifice. I'm fairly certain that is Bruce Fitzhugh from the band Living Sacrifice.
Oh, cool.
Who is a friend and one day will be a guest on our show. We've already talked to him about it, and he's down.
Does Bruce live in town?
He lives south of Nashville. He's down in Spring Hill, I believe.
What up, Bruce from Living Sacrifice? For those of you who don't know, Living Sacrifice is a very cool metal band. I once saw them in a very seedy little cool club in Birmingham playing with Stavesaker and Project 86.
They, those dudes rip, man. They're so good. If you haven't heard them,
it was no joke.
You have to listen to them.
Yeah, it was no joke. All right, Bruce Sacrifice, Derek Damager, Epic Cat, Captain Pios, and Peoria Alex, who I'm guessing is a man or woman who lives in Peoria, Illinois.
I'm guessing I think you're right, man.
So you guys are our winners. You guys have just won the free stuff. If you just heard your name, again, just to reiterate, send us an email, metalupyourpodcastshow@gmail.com with your name and address, and we will send you the stuff. And thank you guys so much, by the way. We're at 80 reviews.
That's amazing.
And lest you think our podcast is all this sort of self-aggrandizing bullshit, once we get to 100, we will stop talking about it.
Yeah, we will.
So
we promise.
help me never talk about that again.
I want you to help me. All right, moving on. Our social media stuff, as we are repetitive about every week. You can follow us on Twitter at MetalUpYourCast, Instagram, MetalUpYourPodcast, Facebook.com/MetalUpYourPodcast. Email, of course, is metalupyourpodcastshow@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us. And if you want to support the show financially, go to patreon.com/metalupyourpodcast. And speaking of new patrons, Clint, do we have any?
We have 3 new patrons this week. Jason Richardson.
What?
Thomas Joswiak and Hoops.
All right. Thanks, guys, for supporting the show.
Thank you guys so much. We mention it every time, but we use that stuff to sort of help keep the podcast running. There's all sorts of associated costs with doing this kind of shit. And we've also been getting some pretty sweet Metal Up Your Podcast merch that we are about to drop on you guys soon.
And I can't wait to see those koozies in person when I get home. Clint recently posted a photo, since I've been gone, on Instagram of the box of koozies, and they look fucking awesome. And I cannot wait to put a beer inside one of them.
We've got 200 of them.
Yes.
Stickers, koozies, a banner, shirts, patches, picks, the works. And all that is really seriously made possible by the people who patron the show. So a sincere, grateful thank you to all of you folks.
Yeah, and thanks again to 85supply.com if you want to check them out. Some good friends of ours who are a printing company who made that happen. They're based in Nashville, so they do good quality stuff. So check them out too, 85supply.com.
You know what it is? It's a family. It's the Metal Up Your Podcast. It's the Metal Up Your Podcast family.
It really is. It's the MetPod family.
I like how you just abbreviated that.
I think I was just creating a new hashtag.
Yeah? Hashtag MetPod fam?
I don't know. MetPod fam.
Here's the thing
Well,
about here's the thing about the socials. I'll just say real quick. We mention it every week, and maybe you guys kind of glaze over when we mention that. Ethan and I are actually doing some pretty fun interactive stuff on Twitter and Instagram, and you get to kind of see visually kind of what our lives look like. For example, I just got my show poster from St. Louis framed with my Snake Pit pass, and I put that on our Instagram, and it looks really cool. And it
looks awesome,
and you can't see it unless you go check it out.
Exactly.
So I'll just say that there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into some emails.
Yeah, let's get to some emails. I can go ahead and start us off.
All right.
Our first email is from Sam Ward. Hey, Sam.
Wait, are you missing one?
Clint,
Are you missing one from Chris?
Oh, you are correct. I went ahead and scrolled down and
You're scrolly.
Sorry, I got real scrolly.
He got scrolly.
So, rewinding real quick, our first email comes from Chris Nace, I believe. Nace, how you pronounce your last name? It's a cool last name. Chris from St. Louis here. I'm sure he was at the show. I'm about to find out. I've been having a blast flying through all your episodes the past week and a half. And I watched the S&M for the first time in at least 15 years yesterday. Around the time of its release, this record never left my dad's CD player unless it was to change discs. If you ever had a multi-disc player in your car, you probably know what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. We must have listened to it together a couple hundred times. I am so deep in Metallica love right now that I'm in danger of permanent whiplash. Ha ha ha. P.S. Outlaw Torn. That's his postscript. Just the words Outlaw Torn. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, I like that little jab of that joke. It's just real simple. P.S. Outlaw Torn.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's cool, Chris. What a cool thing that you and your dad got to listen to that a couple hundred times together. That's a pretty cool experience to share that love of one band together.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use the word hero for your dad.
Yeah.
Hero lies in you.
Yeah, write us back and let us know if your dad does or does not wear a cape. I'm just curious.
Like under his like outfit is just like Superman's outfit.
That's one of those like those common sayings now where people say, not all heroes wear capes, and I actually think it's funny most of the time. It's probably really old, but every once in a while I say it, and so I'm gonna go ahead and say that if I had to put some money down on it, Chris's dad probably wears a cape.
But the actual heroes who do wear capes that are sitting around somewhere like, yeah, but some of us do. God damn it.
Yeah, hey, I've got a cape on.
I've been wearing this cape my whole fucking life. Now it's cool to not wear a cape. All right. Thanks, Chris, for the email. Our next email is from Sam Ward. Hey, Clint and Ethan, longtime listener, first-time emailer. Gotta say, I totally think you guys are doing an awesome job at spreading infectious energy with your comfortably conversational podcast. I'm treating your album episodes like a class and listening to both your take and the record as you go. So awesome to revisit each song. Would love to hear you guys try and objectively rank the top 10 best Metallica songs. Not your favorites, not the most brutal, not the best-selling, etc., just the best. Seeing as you are both talented and accomplished writers and musicians, I would love to hear your breakdowns of your picks for the 10 best Metallica songs. I live in East Nashville as well. Oh, cool.
Oh, very nice.
Would love to buy you some beers or passion fruit vodka and talk all things Metallica with you sometime. Sorry for the novel, but I do love the show and the band. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to hearing from y'all. Glad to have you in the neighborhood. Very cool.
Dude, that's man, Sam, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could go up to Mickey's Tavern on Gallatin Road and ask for a couple of passion fruit vodka shots.
You think they have passion fruit at Mickey's?
I doubt it.
No, dude. You would ask for passion fruit vodka at Mickey's, and they would just slowly slide you a Miller High Life. Like
they would do that, or they would call you a pedal tavern to take you downtown to Broadway. They're like, hey, why don't you go hang out with all the bachelorette parties, boy?
Dude, speaking of pedal taverns, what the fuck is up with pedal taverns?
I literally an hour ago was sitting out in front of my hotel in Berlin, and one drove by, and I was like, my God, they're everywhere.
Yeah. Hey, here's my idea of a good time. I want to drink a bunch of beer, but while I'm doing it, I want to basically fucking pedal myself and 10 other people around a city.
Yeah, it's honestly, at least in Nashville, and some of you can let us know if it's common in your city, but in Nashville, it's such a popular thing with bachelorette parties. I've gotten stuck behind them driving through downtown, and it's just a bunch of like, woo, girls on the thing, and they're just drinking and pedaling, and I know they're electric powered, and what I've heard is that when the other passengers are pedaling, it's not really much effort, but you're helping charge the battery.
Well, I don't even want to do that. It's still dumb.
At least they're keeping it green, I guess. I don't know.
All their conversations too are like, oh my God, Becky the other day said the silliest thing. And then Karen was at brunch, and we're just peddling the pedal tavern.
Oh my gosh, Karen was there?
Oh my God,
No
you would never believe what
way.
Karen said. She looked like shit.
That's hilarious.
So Sam is basically saying...
She is such a bitch sometimes.
I mean, I love her, but seriously.
I mean, do you remember back at prom when she just like totally snaked that guy?
Oh my God. Remember what she did to Dan and Tony?
Literally, I died.
I died. Oh, anyway, let's get some brunch.
Anyways, let's go to our next email from Jelena.
Just do the whole show as Becky, the bitchy girl.
Yeah, totally. All right. By the way, Sam, thank you for the email, and we would love to grab beer sometime in the neighborhood. That'd be awesome.
And we, his idea about doing an episode on like the 10 sort of objectively best songs. I don't know if that's possible. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
it'd be tough.
He says, not your favorites. Okay, scratch that off. Not the most brutal. Scratch that off. And not the best selling. Like, I don't know what the criteria would be if we're scratching off all these things, you know?
Maybe best as in just like best musically, like best, most technical, maybe. I don't know. Maybe elaborate a little bit more, Sam, and we can, maybe we can meet up for some passion fruit vodka and discuss it further when I get home.
There we go. There's a solution. All right, our next email.
Yeah. Our next email is from Jelena. Hey guys, just wanted to say hi. I'm listening to the latest episode right now, and what I most definitely did not expect to hear was I will be in Croatia next week. You see, I just happened to be from Croatia. She's talking about me being in Croatia last week. I first learned about your podcast on Reddit. When you did the What If episode, I asked what if Kirk hadn't lost his phone. I still have some catching up to do, but I've loved every episode so far. Please keep up the good work. You're a Croatian fan, Jelena. Well, Jelena, I got to say, speaking of Croatia, it is one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. I got to go for the second time just last week. I had a day off there and met up with some old friends who I played a show with about 12 years ago there. And it's absolutely beautiful. The price is good when you're going out to eat or drink. People are friendly. You live in an extremely beautiful place. And I'm sorry that by the time you heard that episode, I was already out of Croatia because I would have met up for some passion fruit vodka.
Well, maybe in 12 years you'll go back and you'll hang out with Jelena.
I can't wait, man. I'll be pushing 50. It'll be great.
Thanks for the email, Jelena. It's nice to hear from our international fans.
Yeah.
Jason Berry writes, Clint's pawpaw character is pure gold. And then he quotes my line, tell you what he's got 2 tickets to is The Gun Show. It's officially my favorite line from the podcast thus far. I kept rewinding it and listening to that part over and over and laughed so hard that the sword from Metallica's original debut album artwork fell out of my ass.
My gosh. That's great.
Which begs the question, what was it doing up there all this time?
It's been a while, yeah.
Well, I'm talking to him and we were telling a joke around the table, and he laughed so hard that a sword fell out of his asshole. And I said,
I think I know the sword you're speaking of.
is it the sword of destiny, or what sword is it, Torben?
I think it's the sword of wisdom.
He keeps wisdom in his bunghole and falls out because you're laughing too hard.
If you wipe your ass hard enough, you'll get wiser. Well, I don't know where that came from. I think it's just because I was in Denmark yesterday and I was looking for Torben and couldn't find him.
You went on the old classic Torben hunt.
Yeah, I posted a photo on Instagram of landing in Denmark, like this beautiful shot of the ocean and some boats, and all I did at the very end, I just hashtagged Lars Ulrich, and nobody commented on it. And got it.
I can just see you like roaming through the wilderness, shouting Torben's name, Torben,
Torben,
Torben.
Even though I'm pretty sure he lives in the Bay Area, like near Lars now.
Torb.
Yo, Torb, just walking into every pub or every like library. Like,
hey, guys,
have you seen Torben Ulrich?
Torben here, Torb.
And then like eight guys turn around at the bar. Yes, that's us.
Yes, we were all here.
Torben is like as common as the name John in Denmark.
Right. Thanks for the email, Jason Berry, and good luck getting that sword back up in your butt.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
By the way, I like that at the end of Jason's email, he said, side note, in iOS, you can listen to podcasts at different speeds. Have you guys ever listened to a podcast at half speed? It's hilarious and makes you guys sound drunk. Well, or you could say more drunk.
Yeah, I was about to say,
usually,
several of our episodes we sound drunk.
Yeah, usually when we're both in town, we'll have, as you know, a bit to drink while we do these things. But well, that's awesome. I'm going to try that on another podcast. See how it sounds.
If you guys want to hear a prime example of me and Ethan being a little toasty, go listen to that Jason Newsted episode.
Yeah, and just go ahead and fast forward to the last 7 minutes.
That's where the good. That's where the good sauce is.
Oh yeah, it's podcast gold right there. Cool. Our next email is from Thelmo Rago.
How about that for a name?
That's a bitchin' name.
Bitchin'.
Yeah, I love it. Hello, Clint and Ethan. My name is Thelmo. We know now. I recently discovered your podcast and blasted through the entire thing. I absolutely love it. Excuse me. You two have great banter and vibe off each other really nicely. I'm also a podcast host with a show very similar to yours about my other favorite band, Dream Theater, called Dream Theater Radio Podcast. Very cool, Thelma. That's awesome. I've been a huge Metallica fan since I was a kid. It's the band that got me into playing guitar and producing music, so I have a lot to thank them for. Also, Metallica was a massive influence on Dream Theater, so without them, they wouldn't exist. If you would ever like a guest on the show to talk some Metallica with you guys, or either one of you or both would like to come on my show, it would be an honor for me. I think fans of my show would really dig yours and vice versa. Thanks for taking time to read my email, Thelmo Rago. Dude, well, first of all, congrats on having a podcast about Dream Theater.
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately, I've never really been a Dream Theater fan. I've seen like videos and I've heard their music, but not really my slice of pizza, I guess. I'm sure both of us would be happy to be a guest on your podcast, but I don't know if we could hang in Dream Theater land.
Yeah, well, I think he means like we could talk about Metallica. I actually didn't know that Metallica influenced Dream Theater. I've always, like, as a guitar guy, like, been sort of mildly fascinated with John Petrucci, and Mike Portnoy,
of course,
is a massive Beatles freak, and he was in kind of a tribute Beatles band for a while. So I always had an affinity for Mike too, even though I know Mike's not in the band, I guess, anymore. Anyway, I did go check out Thelmo's podcast, and I didn't listen as like a huge Dream Theater fan, but it's a legit podcast. It's this dude is very. He's in real deep with that band. His podcast seems to have a lot of good content. So if you dudes do like Dream Theater, go check it out. And Thelmo, hell yeah, we want to be on your show, motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
As long as we can talk about Metallica.
Always down. Yeah, I mean, I could say the name Dream Theater a bunch. I don't know.
just saying Dream Theater in Torben's accent for an hour and 15 minutes.
Dream Theater.
And in terms of you coming on the show, like so we've talked in past episodes about guests and stuff, and I know we had Paul Moak on. We talked about the Living Sacrifice guy, Bruce. We're getting to that. I think what we've kind of decided is maybe this first year is kind of looking like building trust, building our fans, talking about the meat and potatoes of Metallica, really letting you guys get to know Ethan and I. And then I think next year is going to be kind of the big year of guests. So
yeah. And you know, obviously things could change, and if the circumstances, you know, worked out, you know, we might have a guest here and there, but and we're still trying to work out certain things. It's been tough, you know, working out how to get people on the show that aren't in Nashville. And lately, you know, Clint and I have both been on the road. Excuse me, I'm coughing a lot. I've been on airplanes all day.
Yeah, you dying? You okay?
I'm dying. Oh, dead.
Well, now that we're dead.
But you know, now that we're dead, I guess I'm gonna dream no more. Good old Metallica puns.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, all that to say, I've been gone forever, and it's all that kind of stuff is put on hold because I'm not in town right now. So we'll get to it, and we'll make it right, and have some awesome guests coming up.
All right, thanks, Thelmo. Our next email comes from Jordan Sirocco. Hey guys, love the show. I've enjoyed doing full listens of Metallica's albums thanks to the podcast. Something interesting I've noticed was the congas used on the first half of Bleeding Me, which I did not know there were congas there. And we just did the load episode.
Me.
Yeah, there actually are. I've been reading through the... dude, I got this fucking awesome book called So What, which is like the best of the So What magazine that Metallica puts out.
Oh, nice.
You gotta check it out. It's one of the best Metallica books I've ever read.
That's awesome.
Tons of interviews with the band and stuff, and they actually talk about the congas on Bleeding Me. So kudos to you, Jordan, for noticing that. He says, it's so weird hearing all the layers of Metallica songs that never get played live. Anyway, when you guys do Some Kind of Monster episode, I implore you guys to listen to the commentary tracks for the movie. There are two, one with the filmmakers and one with the band. Both have cool insights into the behind the scenes of the film, plus it's cool to hear the band casually talk about one of their roughest times. As an unabashed Saint Anger defender, I find it amusing that you guys dread listening to Saint Anger when you still have to listen to Lulu. Jordan from Kona, Hawaii, New Jersey. He's right.
Very cool.
He's right about Lulu. That one's more stinky.
That's true.
It's the more stinky one.
It's probably the stinkiest.
It's the stinkiest. It's the turd.
I would say, I mean, if there's an episode in the future where we rank every Metallica release, you know, Lulu, I can already tell you will be at the bottom.
But Lulu doesn't really count, man. It was like an experimental side project collaboration with Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Saint Anger was Metallica's sincere attempt to deliver their 8th Metallica record.
Right.
So it's stinky in a whole different way, in a way that hurts more.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to talk about Lulu.
The commentary for the film that he mentions is really good. And there's also a book. Joe Berlinger put out a book called, I think it's called This Monster Lives. I can't remember. But he put out a book about the making of the film, which has a ton of great insights. Ethan and I don't like Saint Anger, but we love that era of it, and we love the documentary.
Of course, yeah.
We love just the saga. So
I want to know everything about that era.
Right.
I just don't want to listen to the result of that era.
I agree. I'm in the same boat.
Well, Jordan, thank you for the email. That's some cool stuff in there. I definitely want to listen to the commentary on that movie.
Thanks, Jordan.
And we next email is Patrick from Sweden.
Sweden!
He spelled it like Sweden. Hello, guys. First, I want to say that the Load episode was great. The Top 10 album cover episode was also great. Nerdy stuff like album covers is always awesome to think about. I also love the off-topic stuff. It can get a bit random at times, but it's always funny. Peace from Patrick in Sweden. Very cool. Thanks for writing in, man. We equally love the nerdy off-topic stuff as well.
Thank you, Patrick from Sweden.
Thank you, Patrick from Sweden, from Denmark.
All right.
Your neighbor to the south.
John Sturm writes in, hey guys, great show as always. I was interested to hear what you came up with. No surprise that Clint went with Load at number 1. What was a surprise is that you left out Garage Inc., S&M, and Through the Never, and Live Shit. Any particular reason for that? Well, Through the Never and S&M and Live Shit are live records. And Garage Inc. is a covers record. So I think we just wanted to keep it to the 10 studio
10
LPs.
Exactly.
I love all those. I love S&M's artwork. I love Through the Never. Garage Inc.'s okay. And the Live Shit Binge and Purge Roadcase box set thing is one of the coolest things they've ever done in terms of packaging.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
We're going to talk about all that on a later episode. He writes,
For sure.
Another great show. Quick suggestion. When you do your Reload episode, you have to play the game that is a staple of the Met forums. I'm not familiar with this. To this day, new posts on this topic cause a rolling of the eyes from the old guard. It's this. If you had to combine Load and Reload into one album, what songs would you choose? If you want to do it by the book, you can only do 79 minutes of music, or you can just choose your favorite 9, 12, 14, etc. Keep up the excellent work.
Okay.
We're going to do
we're
going to do it.
We talked about that.
What are we calling it? Re-reload or unload? Unload?
I like. Well, we can call it unload because of Paul Moak.
Because of our friend Paul Moak. Yeah, Paul Moak. I don't think he'll mind me saying this. He once he'd had a little bit to drink, and he once very sincerely referred to Reload as unload. Yeah. And we have not. Man, we ate his ass alive about that immediately.
Yeah,
we were on like
totally.
a group text. It's like,
yeah.
He was like, "Oh my god, I'm never going to live it down," and me and Ethan were like, "No, sir."
Yeah, exactly. I think we still give him shit for it too. So
yeah, we're doing it right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing it like on our podcast, which will go out to the world.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, we're gonna do that episode. It's. I mean, he's saying it gets kind of played out on the forums, but here's the deal: it's a really fun thought experiment. If you love the band, it's
very
really
fun.
fun to think about that. Any band that's made a big ass double record, even with the White Album, it's fun to say, okay, if we made one album out of this, Ryan Adams' Cold Roses is another one that comes to mind. So.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you, John. Our next email is from Darth Leviosa, who is your buddy, who was also shared the experience at the St. Louis show with you. He says, "Hello, men. It's me. Hello, men.
Men. We are men.
Hello, men.
I am a man. God damn it.
From St. Louis. Dean and I have seen the St. Louis show and now Chicago, and I wanted to share some thoughts on what I believe to go down as the biggest missteps in Metallica lore. I'm not talking Napster level, but still. I had heard of the drum circle before I attended the St. Louis show, and it sounded kind of ridiculous. And the pictures I saw looked kind of ridiculous, but I was willing to give it a chance. Maybe it would sound really cool live. When it started, all I could do was laugh. Insane, maniacal laughter. It was more ridiculous than I ever imagined. I was laughing too hard to really gauge the audience reaction. Flash forward 2 weeks, and I'm in Chicago, prepared for the spectacle. Yep, still ridiculous, but I look around and people are just not into it. It's like a giant game of freeze tag just broke out.
He's right.
He's kind of, yeah, he is right. Yeah, you and I both have seen it, and it's just, I'm sure the guys think it's cool. They came up with it. So they had somebody custom make those big drums that have electronic pads in them with different sounds. And they're really cool pieces, but I just don't think it's executed well. And to me, it's just kind of a bore part of the show. But he goes on to say they're just standing there looking bored. Time really started to drag out and the drums just wouldn't stop. Lars comes dancing out and conducts the other band members. Just cringe inducing.
He's right. I felt cringy at that too.
Yeah, I did too. If it was longer, that'd be a good time to go get a beer, but it's not that long. So it could have gone on for much longer, and I'm glad it didn't. Anyways, he said, aside from this, the entire drum circle bit completely ignores the dynamic of the song. The instrumental break right before normally builds up to the chorus, but instead it builds up and then just peters out while the band members get into position and play a very boring drum beat. Yeah, I think, Darth, you're spot on with this. But he ends the email by saying, all that being said, I love both shows. They sounded great. The spectacle was something to behold. Everyone had a great time. We wouldn't be hardcore Metallica fans if we didn't criticize something, right? You are correct. Keep up the great work. Yours in metal, Darth.
He's absolutely right. Part of love, truly loving something, is having the courage and the freedom and the wherewithal to criticize it.
Yeah,
we're not just drinking Kool-Aid. We fucking love this band. We're in deep with them. We're on the journey with them. And yeah, you got to be able to call it like it is, man. And that drum circle just, Darth humorously says he thinks it'll go down as one of their biggest missteps, but I don't know if it's quite that bad. But
yeah, I don't know if it's that bad, Darth.
It doesn't work.
Respect. It's just it's a small 2 to 3 minute thing in a live show of one of many tours.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. I don't think they'll ever do it again. I think he's right about that. I think they're just letting it ride for the stadium tour.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks, Darth. Always good to hear from our buddy Darth.
Always good, yeah, and glad you enjoy those shows. Hey, Clint, I got a question for you. What time is it?
I think it's time for letters from Samim. All right, you just heard our new segment jingle for Samim.
Hang on, I got to give Clint all the credit. Don't say our jingle. I was yesterday. I was in Denmark, and Clint randomly texted me. I'm at our show at this festival. I was actually watching Jimmy Eat World when he sent it to me, and I walked off stage and put it up to my head and laughed so hard because it's Clint created this thing without me knowing and sent it to me, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was in between sessions in my studio, and I put together that little black metal jingle. So. Now we have it.
Well, you did a fantastic job.
Here's what our friend Samim has to say. He says, hi, I was very happy to see a top 10 albums covers episode. I'd actually suggested it to Clint a while back, though I'm sure he doesn't remember what with all the avalanche of fan interactions you now constantly live under. I did not remember that, Samim. My apologies. But we can always count on Samim to be very thorough. He's got a good mind on him. He says, before my own list, though, 2 things about the Load episode. Number 1, Poor Twisted Me is one of my favorite hidden gems, so I was pleasantly surprised to hear you not dismiss it straight away like most other fans do. Number 2, Outlaw Torn's outro, how dare you? Just how dare you?
We dared.
We received, actually, Ethan, I think you and I are the only people I've ever talked to that think that Outlaw Torn is a little too long. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to it. I just feel that it is, and I don't care for the outro. Then I'm gonna stand my ground and bite my pillow.
I'm like, oh,
that was my second waiting for Guffman reference, by the way.
Yep, I didn't get that one either. So what Samim did is he ranked his album covers, which I'll read some of them, but he elaborated on a few of them that I wanted to read because Samim is a poet and I love his take on things. He ranks it. Oh, he has 11 here. Why? Oh, he included Lulu. Yeah, Samim always includes Lulu because I think Samim likes Lulu.
Hey, Samim, Clint just wrote a damn jingle for you, dude.
What are you doing, Samim? All right, so
have some respect.
He has 11. He put Reload, and he says it's a nondescript but glossier version of the Load cover. Number 10, he has Death Magnetic, and he writes, I mean, it's a vagina from the 70s, and it's not even a metaphorical vagina pointing to the circularity of life or whatever. It's just a regular, unkempt vagina. Now, it's not all bad, as I really like the updated logo, and I'm sure if vaginas were made out of soil and had magnetic properties, they would look exactly like that. So it's well made, I guess. But the drop shadow on the coffin and the aluminum reflection of the logo screams Photoshop 101, which you don't like. You don't like that either, the aluminum.
Yeah, I had commented about just kind of that chrome look. I just didn't really care for.
Samim says it screams of Photoshop 101.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9, he has Hardwired. Number 8 is Black Album. Now, I wanted to read what he wrote about the Black Album. He says, not that I want to get all political, but as a European, I have an instinctual dislike of any overt displays of nationalism, and as a Middle Easterner, that feeling gets even more accentuated when that display is coming from the U.S. So I'm simply unable to harbor any real love for the Gadsden flag. I wouldn't want to be uncharitable and dismiss the fact that the Gadsden flag doesn't necessarily have to be a symbol of boneheaded jingoism, and that its history goes all the way back to the American Revolution, to much earlier times than its eventual almost exclusive appropriation by the more hawkish parts of the American right. And I might be missing a ton of other subtleties since I don't live there, but still, lyrics like Never Begins It, Never is so laughable in the face of history that I can't help but put this down so low. As pure graphics, though, the cover is undeniably iconic, and I especially love the arms crossed image of the band inside. I thought that was insightful commentary.
Very, very insightful. and it's really cool to hear someone's opinion that's not only not American, but from much further east than, England, Germany, whatever. Yeah, that's very cool. I've never actually heard anybody mention something about that.
Well, and I share some of his. I share some of the distaste for the "Don't tread on me," like to secure peace is to prepare for war, and some of that bothers me too. But anyway, he has number 7, Saint Anger, number 6, Kill 'Em All, 5, Master Puppets, 4, Lulu, 3, Load, 2, Ride, and number 1, Justice. And that is our segment, Letters from Samim.
Thank you, Samim.
Thanks, Samim. Okay, so, man, that took longer than normal. Let's get into this S&M 2 fantasy set list. We've all done it. You've listened to S&M, and you've thought, why didn't they play Fade to Goddamn Black? And then you thought, why didn't they play Unforgiven? Why didn't they play motherfucking Creeping Death? And then you thought, I could come up with a, pristine, beautiful, wonderful listening experience called S&M 2. You've thought about it. We've thought about it, and we're going to read you our motherfucking lists.
That's right. We definitely are. I spent some time on this this morning in my hotel when I was still in Denmark, and then on the plane today on the very long 40-minute flight to Berlin. Yeah, it was fun to do, and also I felt pretty challenging.
Yeah, it is. It was a challenge.
I feel like this could easily change in a week.
Well, here's the challenge. The challenge is twofold. Number 1, you want to represent their catalog, right? You want to represent their career. Number 2, you have to think about the flow of a show and the dynamic of a show, right? So you've sort of got two things that you're juggling. I say what we do is we each do our disc 1, then we each do our disc 2.
Right.
Okay. Who should go first?
I'm happy to go first. And now here's the other thing that you and I had texted each other about. You had reminded me, hey, yours is 21 songs, right? And I said yes, 21, including the Ecstasy of Gold, because that is the intro no matter what, right? Or did you do 21 totally different songs?
I included Ecstasy of Gold as one of the 21.
Okay, good. So I did too.
Oh, okay. Nice. No problem.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure that you didn't do 21 and also Ecstasy of Gold as the intro. Because if to be meticulous, you look at the track listing, that's track 1,
Yeah, we did it by the book. We both did it by the book.
Okay. Very cool.
So let's hear your disc 1, and we can just see what kind of conversations fly from this.
And then disc 1 is technically is 11 on disc 1?
It's 11 on disc 1 and 10 on disc 2.
Okay. All right. So obviously, Ecstasy of Gold.
Okay. Yep.
I think everyone's going to put that at number 1. That just has to be number 1. Okay. So I have them in this in the same vein as the original S&M, opening with an instrumental, and I have them opening with Orion.
Yeah, I had the same.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is I thought, how cool would it be so that on the Master of Puppets record, that intro is Cliff's bass. How cool would it be if Michael Kamen were still around, or if someone like Hans Zimmer was conducting an orchestra, and they wrote some really, really beautiful part that was basically what Cliff recorded on the record, but with a full orchestra. Lars slowly comes in, the band starts to walk out, you get chills, and then all of a sudden they go into Orion.
Yeah. It's great.
And I think that middle bass solo part with the harmonies would sound insanely beautiful with an orchestra.
I 100% agree. Like, the only other options for this would be To Live Is to Die or Suicide and Redemption, and it's got to be Orion. It has to be Orion.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Cthulhu was the right call for the first S&M, but Orion's a real close second.
Total, definitely. And then track 2, I have Creeping Death.
I do too.
Really?
I swear to
Nice.
God. Man, how about that 1-2 punch with the symphony, dude? Shit.
I know, exactly. Okay, my number 3, my track 3 might surprise you because they didn't do any of this on the first album. I say it like this album exists on S&M. I have Four Horsemen.
Okay, cool.
I love this song, and I was listening
Especially
to it
that
today,
middle section would be so killer with the symphony.
Exactly. Even the chorus, it's a beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful sounding chorus. If you played it on acoustic, horsemen are drawing nearer, not a steed they ride. I think that'd be great.
Well, they've done Four Horsemen acoustic, and it actually works pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Track 4, now. My track 1 through 4 is basically like old school Metallica fan heaven. So my track 4 is Harvester of Sorrow.
Love it. Oh shit, that's perfect. I did not include that, but that would be great. That's prime for a symphony.
I agree. Yeah, I tried my best to listen to a lot of these songs as I was kind of ordering it and imagining a symphony behind it. And I thought Harvester of Sorrow would sound so good with a symphony behind it.
Yeah, man, good choice. Solid.
And then coming out of Harvester of Sorrow, we come to, because we're imagining that this is going to be a current record sometime soon. In our fantasies here. Mm-hmm. So now you give them a taste of the current record, Hardwired, and have Atlas Rise.
Yeah, great.
I think it would kind of have how like the heavier parts of Master of Puppets on S&M have these almost kind of chaotic sounding strings and stuff before it gets to the bridge. I'd imagine something like that on Atlas Rise.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm loving this set list so far.
Okay, and then after that, we have a really get into the Black Album here, and I love the intro to this song, and I think it would sound great with a symphony behind it.
My Friend of Misery. On Me. Oh, Don't Tread on Me.
No, Don't Tread on Me, because you have the da 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 dun dun.
Yep.
Da 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 dun.
With like timpanis and shit.
Yes, I think it would sound so good. Yeah. Samim probably wouldn't listen to that. He'd skip that track, I think.
He would be politically obligated to not listen to that one.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, Samim.
Now, and maybe, in my ultimate fantasies, maybe Jason Newsted would make an appearance live and he would do the Don't Tread on Me.
Shit. I didn't even think about cameos, bro.
We got any treaders out there? No, I think that one would sound so good with a symphony behind it.
Yeah. And that song doesn't get a lot of love, And it kind of mirrors, I know we just did the Wolf of Man kind of joke, but it would kind of mirror the deep cut vibe, Black Album vibe that they did on the first one.
Yeah. Well, and I will say adding songs from the Black Album to this was tough because they basically played all the main
ones.
hits.
Yeah.
Right. On S&M.
They did Inner Sandman, Nothing Else Matters, Rome, and Sabbath True.
Yeah.
And of Wolf and Man.
And of Wolf and Man, yeah. So, I chose for my first of a few Black Album tracks, Don't Tread on Me.
Cool.
So for my next track, I have King Nothing, and I think that with an orchestra, with that eerie, kind of feedbacky intro before the bass starts would sound really cool with multiple instrumentation behind it.
Yeah, especially like violin, like violin's kind of doing the ambient thing that Kirk normally does.
Yeah, it's a very tense sounding thing. It I think allows for a good, almost eerie sounding build up to that great Jason bass line.
Yep, I totally agree. Great choice.
Yeah. So getting close to the end of disc 1 here. Next I have back to Hardwired. I got Halo on Fire.
Nice. Great moment.
I think, I honestly think that, and this is in, I'm at the end of disc 1, I'm kind of, not fully, but you'll see what I'm talking about, in a way kind of slowing it down a little bit.
I would love to hear strings do that.
Oh, exactly. I think it would sound great. I think even in the verse, how quiet it is with James's vocals and that clean guitar part, the drums are quieter. I think a bunch of strings. Yeah, I think there would be so much cool stuff happening behind that.
Yeah, Halo on Fire. Halo on Fire is mandatory on an S&M2 as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
it's kind of like an instant
mandatory.
classic.
Yeah, it definitely is. And now I'm getting after Halo on Fire. I think once that song ends, all of a sudden you have maybe kind of how Michael Kamen did on S&M. Sometimes he kind of added some instrumentation to the beginning of existing songs. You're not sure what they're going to start with. Maybe something along those lines that's building up some kind of creepy kind of strings, some like horns and stuff, and then all of a sudden James starts playing the intro to the Day That Never Comes.
Nice.
So this is my first Death Magnetic track. And they don't give it a lot of love live anymore. So
no, they don't.
I would love to hear an S&M version of this.
Yeah, I would too. It's another one primed for it. It would be beautiful.
Yeah.
And even just as much as the first beautiful half, even the thrashy half too.
Yeah, I think there would be some really cool stuff because there's some really cool melodic stuff that Kirk plays on the end. Cool harmony stuff. I think that a really good composer and conductor could do wonders to the end of the song. And capping off my disc 1, in the same track 4 vein, I have them ending disc 1 with Sanitarium.
Yeah, you love that one.
I do, and it's also another, I think, surprising track that they didn't have on S&M.
Yeah, I know. I agree
because I mean, there's so much good melody in that song, vocally and instrumentally. I was just really surprised because I could listen to that song and hear strings, and it's one of the ones that Apocalyptica has covered, just the 4 cellos, and it's beautiful.
Nice.
So, do you want to go through your disc 1 and then we'll move to disc 2?
Yep, I'll do that. So
let's do it.
I'm not criticizing your list, but you are, because I don't know what you're going to do on disc 2 yet, but you are kind of from Halo on Fire, Day Never Comes, Sanitarium. It's kind of downery world.
It is downery world, and I'm not going to give anything away here, but going into disc 2, it kind of remains that way for a bit. And
gotcha.
I was looking at the whole show, kind of like almost like like a big valley, like you're starting out on top, kind of come down for a while in the middle and back up the hill. So you'll see what I'm talking about when I get into disc 2. But let's hear your disc 1.
All right, cool. So my disc 1, Ecstasy of Gold, Lights Come Down. All right, we know all that. Just like you, the first 2 out of the gate, Orion, Creeping Death. I just think that shit is so strong. I mean, if I was that 15 minutes into that show, I would be shitting for sure.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to keep the party rolling with what I think is another straight up instant classic, Moth in the Flame.
Moth in the Flame that early? That's great.
Moth in the Flame, track 3. Well, it's track 4, but counting Ecstasy of Gold, it's the 3rd Metallica song.
Well, assuming this is going to be their next release.
Yeah, right.
They're still promoting Hardwired.
Right. Well, I just think that whether it was coming out soon or whether it was going to be in 5 years, I think that the instant classics on Hardwired are Moth and Halo.
Yeah, agreed.
And Spit Out the Bone. So Moth in the Flame. So we're still sort of up. We're in up world. Moth in the Flame burns down. Trash can, crescendo. The crescendo turns into the eerie King Nothing intro.
There you go.
Then we get some King Nothing, which surprisingly, this is my only load representation. Because you know what?
Really?
Thankfully, the original S&M was real heavy on load and reload. They gave us a lot of great shit from those records.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we got fucking Devil's Dance, dude. That's crazy. They will never play Devil's Dance again, ever.
No.
We do King Nothing, and then similar to your disc 1, but a little earlier, we kind of come down from King Nothing, and we get the intro to The Day That Never Comes, a little Death Magnetic Love.
Nice. I love that you threw that on there too.
So we burn the ending thrashy part of Death Magnetic of Day That Never Comes down straight into boom, 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 Ride the Fucking Lightning.
Oh man, with strings.
It would be one of the harder ones to pull off because that song is just so tight. But I think in the solo sections where it would be really interesting.
Yeah, man, that would be so cool. There's a lot of great melodic solo.
And,
in
yeah,
that
and just
song.
imagine like all the strings following the bam 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 bam, you know, like anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to kind of keep the early thrash vibes going, we've got from Ride the Lightning into another song from your disc one, the Four Horsemen.
Oh, you chose it too. I was
did.
curious to see if you would do anything from Kill 'Em All.
I did. I chose yeah, you're going to be surprised at some of my choices. Yeah, I did the Four Horsemen, and just like you, just mainly just because that middle part would be so cool to hear arranged for this.
Yeah, for sure.
From the Four Horsemen into another, so we've had like 3 big thrashy numbers. We're gonna kind of mellow it out for this creepy intro to "That Was Just Your Life," another Death Magnetic tune.
Ooh, that would be a great,
You know,
an orchestra playing that intro with the heartbeat kind of thing.
Yep, right.
Would be so bitchin'.
So, and then of course we know "That Was Just Your Life" kind of is kind of a thrashy juggernaut. Track 1 from Death Magnetic had to be.
Yeah.
Return to form shit. So then we wind all that down. Crowd's going crazy. Everyone in the audience is shitting. Everyone has come prepared wearing Pampers and
Yeah, they
Depends.
can't believe it.
Yeah. And we start hearing the...
Hang on, has Skrillex stage dove yet?
Nope. Skrillex is waiting in the wings.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Then we get the creepy intro to, and this is the highlight for the diehards, motherfucking Fixer.
Ooh, do you know how hard it was for me to not put that on my list?
I just feel like to sort of mirror the Outlaw Torn, you know, the last track of Load and Reload. I feel like we got to give Fixer some
know.
love. Great vocal performance by James, a killer lyric.
Dude, I had that on my list until my final one I revised.
Yeah.
And I ditched it. I felt kind of bad, but
I mean, if you're looking at Metallica's whole career, I get it. There are stronger, like more iconic staples that beg for these slots. But
when you make the Outlaw Torn comparison, it makes sense.
Yeah, right. I think if we're sort of going by the template of the first record, yeah, it doesn't sit where Outlaw Torn sat in that other set list, but it's a little earlier. And then so to my last song of disc 1 to sort of end out our first segment before the intermission, probably the biggest omission from S&M 1, Fade to Black.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I would say that's a big omission.
Yeah. And that's how we go out. Let's go out. See you guys in a minute. Taking a motherfucking break.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, my disc 2, coming back, let's say they walk off stage, take a little intermission, everyone goes get some popcorn, some Twizzlers.
Some Twizzlers.
Or some fucking Jaeger, bro.
Probably Twizzlers.
Probably Twizzlers, yeah. Or they would, or you remember you get red vines when you were a kid and you bite off both ends and use it as a straw?
Oh my gosh.
They would do that to sip their Jaeger through.
Or they'd go get Suicides from the bar.
Put
a Diet Coke and a ginger ale. Just put them all in there, man. It's called a Suicide.
I did that at 7-Eleven growing up with Slurpees all the time.
I'll have a Slurpee Suicide, man. Is that what you sounded like?
Nah, dude, it fucking sounded like this, bro. And I went to
nah.
fucking 7-Eleven and got some fucking Suicide Slurpees and played Street Fighter 2 and lined my quarters up on that shit, bro.
Hey, you want a Slurpee? Fuck yeah, I want a fucking Slurpee.
Oh my God. Let's just let Ethan do his discs too, Clint.
It's gonna go sit and play Cruisin' USA all fucking day. Remember Cruisin' USA?
You remember that? Of course I do. Oh yeah, I used to go to an arcade in the Mission Viejo Mall in California called Tilt.
I miss
it was
arcades,
awesome.
dude.
I do too. Well, hey, speaking of, what used to be known as the Foo Bar in East Nashville is now called Cobra, and they have a bunch of video games in there.
Oh, cool.
And we need to go.
All right. So let's do your disc 2.
All right. So my disc 2, I chose something that would kind of surprise the crowd, not coming in super hot, but it's kind of it's almost like coming back from the intermission, like, hey, let's play this. It'll be surprising for the crowd. But I just think that the chorus would work so well with an orchestra, and I put The House That Jack Built.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you, dude.
Look at me coming around to Load. I jumped in that warm Load water.
Dude, you put House That Jack Built on your S&M 2.
I did.
That's strong.
I did. Very strong. And I think the next three are going to shock you. I had this vision on the airplane today about how I was like, man, this is a long 40-minute flight. How epic would this be? I know as a fan of these three songs, I would lose my shit. And now I'm almost second-guessing myself, and I wish I would have started Disc 2 with this. My next three tracks are the Unforgiven, the Unforgiven 2, and the Unforgiven 3.
Unforgiven trilogy.
A trilogy played live with an orchestra. And I listened to all three of those today back to back on the flight, like imagining strings and horns and all the percussion behind it. And like, God, that would be so epic.
You know, I think that your intuition to kind of do a surprise left turn first to get everyone's blood pumping again before you lay in the trilogy on them, I think that's a good move.
I mean, maybe I could have chose a different track besides The House that Jack Built. Like maybe they could have done something like, 2x4 or Ain't My Bitch. But The House that Jack Built, I listened to that song today and I thought, man, I could hear a lot of cool orchestral stuff in there.
Because it's so creepy and minery and strange. And
yeah.
Maybe you would have like a French horn solo instead of James's talk box solo.
Probably.
A bass trombone, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
No, a flugelhorn.
Definitely a flugelhorn.
Man, so let me ask you this: on the Unforgiven trilogy, are they segued into each other? Is there any stopping in between, or is it just a full-on 15-minute juggernaut?
I think a 15-minute like ordeal, like 'cause especially after the first Unforgiven 2 has the same kind of intro. On the Unforgiven 1, it's a fade out on the record, but they can kind of do like a hard ending, and all of a sudden you hear that horn snare roll kind of come back in. Maybe it goes for longer and builds more tension.
Wow!
And then all of a sudden you go right in. James does a guitar change with the B bender, and you go right into Unforgiven 2.
The only problem with that is that what I really love, other than I think Unforgiven 2 is a great song, is I love all of its head nods or hat tips to Unforgiven. Unforgiven 3 doesn't really have any of that.
It doesn't, but I think it stands on its own as a really good song.
It does. I just wish it had the horn or something. Or I love how in Unforgiven 2 at the end so I dub the Unforgiven. Like you add that melody back in and the
Yes, exactly. By the way, I need to kind of correct myself here. I think I may have mentioned one extra song on my disc 1 before we started disc 2, I think.
I don't think you did.
Because I'm counting here. I've got 20 on here. I don't have Ecstasy of Gold on the actual playlist here.
So your first disc was Ecstasy of Gold, Orion, Creeping Death, Four Horsemen, Harvester of Sorrow, Atlas Rise, Don't Tread on Me, King Nothing, Halo on Fire, Day That Never Comes, Sanitarium. That's 11.
You were correct. And then let's see. Oh my God, I'm a fucking idiot. Let me back up real quick. So when I when I went into I scrolled down and saw the House that Jack Built, and I totally cut off what was originally. I had 2 songs as attention getters before the Unforgiven trilogy.
Ah, okay. So what's before it?
I'm so sorry to everybody for that. I mean, I think just the House that Jack Built going to that would have been cool. What I had them coming back with. This is why I need a freaking music stand with a huge piece of paper with everything written out. I'm just looking at my phone right now. I had them coming back from intermission with Dream No More.
Ah.
Because to me, that's kind of like, that's this very much in the vein of The Thing That Should Not Be, which they did on S&M.
Yep.
It has that really heavy chorus, and I think with strings would be really cool. So my apologies. That is what I have coming back into disc 2.
I think we all forgive you.
I feel like I'm unforgiven right now.
We've not dubbed you Unforgiven.
Okay, well, please don't dub me Unforgiven. So anyways, okay, disc 2, Dream No More, House of Jack Built, Unforgiven 1, 2, 3. I would say one more thing about the Unforgiven trilogy section of my disc 2.
Yeah.
I think it'd be rad at the end of Unforgiven 2, when that ends, everyone thinks, oh, that's cool, they did those back to back, that's awesome. Because Unforgiven 3 is kind of, I feel, can be a bit forgotten from Death Magnetic. And then all of a sudden, the lights are out, the crowd's like ready for something else, like maybe pick it back up, and all of a sudden you hear that beautiful piano horn intro.
Oh, for sure.
And then they're like, holy shit, they're doing all 3 of them? Something that you would never expect them to do is to play all the 3 of those in order.
I think you'd probably be expecting it if they did 1 and 2 in a row.
Yeah, maybe. But you'd still be equally as excited if all of a sudden that piano started.
That'd be a big treat.
It's so good. So moving on, then we pick it back up here. And I think this would be cool with all the percussion and an orchestra, Struggle Within.
Ah, you love that tune.
I love that tune. Well, that snare drum intro is so good.
Yep. Right.
You could extend that intro with Kirk and James's guitars and violins and cellos and everything, like doubling that. It would sound so great.
And another song that really doesn't get much love, so that'd be a treat.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said before, it was tough to pick some Black Album tracks because they kind of got all the heavy hitters there,
right?
Other than Unforgiven,
right?
At least the most popular. But so then from there, Bring It Up, we go into That Was Just Your Life.
Cool, I had that too.
Yeah. From there, my last three, I have Moth into Flame.
Great. I'm glad you included it. I was scared you wouldn't.
Yeah, I had it on there. I almost took it off, but I think there's a lot of great guitar work in there that could be incorporated with strings and horns and stuff. And so then I have, for my last two, my second to last track on disc 2, I have Fade to Black.
All right.
Now, I originally had it as my last track because this outro can keep going and going if you want it to. They could vamp it for a long time with some really cool instrumentation happening. And it would be this epic ending to the whole show. But kind of keeping it in the same vein as S&M, that ends, and everyone is like, oh my gosh, what a great show we just saw. That ending of Fade to Black was fucking epic. And then all of a sudden, the orchestra starts playing the intro to Blackened.
Nice.
And you're sitting there watching the show like, oh my god, this is they're doing an orchestral version of the intro to Blackened, and maybe even extending it for like a minute to build that tension and that excitement, and all of a sudden they end with Blackened.
Nice, great.
And because I loved how the first one ended with Battery.
Well, on the heels of that, my disc 2 begins with Blackened. And
Very cool.
To your point, the orchestra learning the arrangement, which was, the intro to Blackened is this backwards arrangement that they had, but the orchestra learning it the way it is. Burning Blackened down, it's a barn burner, whether it's at the front or the back. You can't go wrong with fucking Blackened.
Oh, of course.
From Blackened, to throw another bone to the original Gangster fans out there, we're going to do some fucking Seek and Destroy.
Dude. Awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I don't think it lends itself like super well to an orchestral arrangement, but it
could be rad.
But it'd be fun to figure it out. And the song is just such a classic. It's just classic Metallica.
Of course, very very much so. And speaking of Kill 'Em All, if I may interject for a second, I actually was sitting there trying to imagine an orchestra and Rob Trujillo somehow doing Anesthesia together.
He's been killing Anesthesia on the Worldwide tour.
Oh, of course he has. Yeah, he's been doing great. But
Yeah.
I tried to imagine that today. Like, could that work?
Yeah, I think it could actually.
There's a lot of beautiful parts on what Cliff wrote.
It'd be definitely a chore for whoever was arranging that shit. But I think it could be done.
Oh, yeah.
So with someone genius like Michael Kamen.
Yeah.
So we've given the original Gangster fans some thrashy treats. And now it's time to rock into what you've already done. I've got the fucking Unforgiven trilogy.
You did it too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Dude,
yeah. Got to.
I totally thought I was going to get you on that one.
Nope.
I thought, like, I don't think Clint will think of this. I got to do it.
No, well, first of all, the Unforgiven demands to be done on another S&M. It's demanded. The fans will fucking riot if they don't do it. Unforgiven 2 is one of my favorite Metallica songs of all time, so that's got to go. And then it's like, well, fuck it, man. Let's just make this a real thing. And you can imagine, I can imagine, like, they don't do this anymore because people don't fucking buy records anymore. But the sticker on the CD would be Unforgiven trilogy performed for the first time in its entirety.
Yeah.
And you're reading that in the record store like, holy shit, I have to get this record.
It'd be so
Even
badass.
if I know that some people don't like Unforgiven 2 and 3, there's different camps. No one doesn't like the Unforgiven, but there are some people who don't like Unforgiven 2 and 3. But even they would be stoked about all that. So
I agree.
That definitely happens. Then we got, you mentioned trying to dig into the Black Album. This is my only Black Album tune, except for the Unforgiven, but Through the Never.
Nice. Yeah. I almost put that on there too.
I think the On Through the Never would have some really cool opportunities for some cool orchestral shit.
Yeah, I think so too.
Then we take things a little slow, and we get brooding, and we get a lot of Jamesisms with Low Man's Lyric, featuring Single Spotlight comes down on the lonely hurdy-gurdy player. Ethan's like jabbing me at the show, like, hey, what is that?
What is that thing that sounds kind of like an accordion?
What's he playing? Is that a dulcimer?
It's a hurdy-gurdy, a dulcimer.
Is that a bowed dulcimer?
Is that a tack hammer dulcimer?
Well, is he playing a bowed dulcimer or is he playing a tack pen?
Oh, Papa, you're back on the show.
I like music. I like to go to live shows. And I like to see Metallica play with the symphonies.
All right, so after Low Man's Lyric, we get classic again. Strap in. It's going to be about a 9 to 10 minute journey on this one.
What?
We have Injustice for All, title track.
Dude, I almost did that one. That's such...
Because we're talking full intro and everything.
Yeah, you have to.
That was just a barn burner. We all know it. We all love it. It'd be really cool to hear it with an orchestra, of course. Last two songs of the record, I have some hardwired shit going on.
Okay.
Penultimate song, Halo on Fire with the new intro. Just beautiful sauce everywhere.
Yeah.
The guitar harmony stuff with the orchestra, big Kirk and James moments, big massive chorus, great long ending. Burn It Down, and here's how we say goodbye on motherfucking Clint's S&M 2. I'm talking spit out the goddamn motherfucking bone.
Oh, I had a feeling you're going to throw it on the end.
Because those
Yeah.
I think those would be really fun. I just think it'd be like their battery moment from S&M 1.
I feel like someone like Michael Kamen would just accent the da-dun.
Yeah.
Da-dun. Da-dun.
Yep. He would.
Yeah. Oh, man. Wow. Ending this too with two hardwire songs. That's awesome.
Yeah, and imagine the cellos on the chorus going bum, 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 bum. Long live machine. Bum, 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 bum. You know, like, shit.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that would be rad. Timpanis. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it'd be so
Yeah,
cool.
I intentionally ended it with two hardwired songs just as my continued tribute to a record that I'm so glad they made. I think it's so good. It stands with everything they've ever done.
Yep.
And it's even better than some of the shit they've done, I'm talking about, of course, Saint Doo-Doo.
Saint Lulu.
Saint Lulu, let's just go ahead and mash those atrocities
let's
together.
Just combine those, yeah.
So we did it.
Dude, that's a great disc too, man.
Yeah, I think so. I think we both have. I would like to see both of our lists.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can type them both out and we can post them on Instagram and Twitter and stuff so everyone can kind of compare and contrast and then send us their own list.
And speaking of that, you guys write out to us, metalupyourpodcastshow@gmail.com. Let us know what yours would be. And or if you think something on our list is complete bullshit, let us know. We're cool with it.
I have a feeling I'll get a little hate for The House that Jack Built.
It is your dark horse song. Let's see what my dark horse song. My dark horse is probably Fixer or Low Man's Lyric, maybe.
Let me ask you this: at any point were you tempted to put Mama Said on? Because I was.
I wasn't, dude, because when it comes to those two records, the two loads, I've always been a Low Man's Lyric guy. So I knew that there wasn't room for both, and I knew immediately what I would choose. I like Mama Said.
Okay.
But
yeah, me too.
Here's my thing: Mama Said does not feel like a Metallica song to me. It feels like a James song. Low Man's Lyric still feels like Metallica to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's kind of my only deal. I think Mama Said would feel like a James solo moment, you know.
So if they did a record called J and S&M,
where
just James with an orchestra,
or James opens the show just with an acoustic guitar
out in the parking lot
at the bar next door.
Yeah, totally.
All right, everyone, write in. Let us know. Just let us know all this stuff. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. Of course, what your list is. We'll read some on a subsequent episode.
Yeah.
It's fun to turn it all around like that. And man, I'm really hoping. I know that James, Kirk, Robert, and Lars are avid listeners of the show. Let's get another S&M up in this bitch.
Seriously, I would love another S&M. I mean, you could have a Hans Zimmer. I mean, what do you think a guy like Danny Elfman could do with this?
Oh, Danny Elfman would kill it.
You think would he kill it, or would it be a little too oddball, a little too weird?
I don't know. It might need something like that because the S&M 1 was kind of like classic. Michael Kamen is the best in the world. It might be cool to get a more quirky, vision for it. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe Hans Zimmer is the dude, or John Williams. Is John Williams still alive?
John Williams. Oh wait, didn't he? Hey, okay. Sorry, Star Wars nerds. I am totally blanking right now. I thought he passed away.
I could easily Google this right now, but I'm going to choose not to. I'm going to choose to dwell in ignorance.
Well, Too late. I'm doing it right now.
I do need to split in a minute to go down to the old sound check.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Where are you at again? You're in Indiana?
I'm in Florence, Indiana, somewhere in a hotel room somewhere.
In a hotel room somewhere.
Somewhere.
Sorry, John Williams is still alive.
All right.
So how about John Williams?
How about Skrillex?
See Skrillex do some dubstep behind Metallica?
Just hitting spacebar.
That's exactly what dubstep sounds to me. It's like. And by the way, as a reggae fan, a dub fan, don't use the word dub in that crappy music. I'm sure he's a hell of a guy. His band from First to Last was pretty cool. But anyways, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, thank you all for listening and hanging out with us. You guys are an extension of our Metallica family. We love interacting with you all through the week and all that stuff. Send us an email, metalupyourpodcastshow@gmail.com. Do the pick contest thing. We're going to send you some free shit. Once we get to 100, we'll stop talking about it. You just go to clickety-clickety-clickety-clack iTunes.com, type in whatever our thing is, leave the thing.
It's so easy.
It's actually probably one of the easiest things you'll ever do in your whole goddamn life.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. You just type a couple click things and you're good.
Shout out to Jonathan at Tone Tubby. We want to thank Tone Tubby again, tonetubby.com for those speakers.
Absolutely.
We fucking love them. What else do we got, Ethan? Is that it?
I think that's about it, man. I think we've run the gamut here.
All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Adios.
If you were our advisor, what would you say? Then I would say, delete that.